He was beautiful. He was the point of difference. He has always been the point of difference. Unparalleled. And maybe today there will, of course, always be those who argue, always be those who debate. And the debate can rage on if you like. But as he falls in love with the object in the world that his heart most desired, it is hard to escape the supposition that he has rendered himself today the greatest of all time.
Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov chess channel and welcome back to the FIDE World Rapid Chess Championship in 2022. So you probably know the news. Magnus Carlsen is the winner of this beautiful chess event, and Magnus has now won 4 Rapid Chess Championships in his career, which is really amazing, which is really sort of a gold performance. And this performance that Magnus Carlsen played here in this Rapid Chess Championship reminded me really of this recent World Cup that Messi won with Argentina, and this little intro that I made at home was actually a beautiful commentary by the top commentator Peter Drury, from a British commentator. I think his voice is really beautiful when he comments on football, and this was his comment on Messi's performance in the World Cup. And as I said, it I think fits also for Magnus Carlsen's career, because Magnus is in many eyes, I think, the GOAT, simply the greatest player of all times, and in this tournament he played really awesome chess. Although in the third day today he struggled a little bit. He lost his game against Vladimir Artemiev, but in these other games Magnus played really wild ideas, played with the king in the center, played wild attacking ideas, beautiful sacrifices, pawn breakthrough, double attacks, decoys, deflections, all of these beautiful elements that we love to see in a beautiful chess game. So as I said, I would really use this parallel, I think, careers of Lionel Messi and Magnus Carlsen. I think these are simply the GOATs of football and of course of chess. So this was really, as I said, a legendary commentary about Messi's performance here by Peter Drury. It's such an inspiring comment, and I think it simply fits also, as I said, for Magnus Carlsen's career. So I've sorted out now a beautiful game from the day 3 between Magnus Carlsen and Barham Maghsoodlou, in which Magnus again showed his beautiful attacking skills. But I wanted to show also, first of all, a beautiful endgame that unfortunately Vincent Keimer missed against Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. Vincent Keimer played here with the black pieces, and he had a big chance in this particular position to win the game. And if he would have won the game, then he would reach the super final against Magnus Carlsen. They would have to play an additional game, but unfortunately in this particular position, after move king to d2, here Vincent Keimer played a bad move f2. It's not simply time to push the pawn. You have to play first of all knight to f7. Here Vincent missed a really beautiful maneuver. Now of course, for instance, white has to step back with the bishop, has to play bishop to f1, but now the king goes here around. You can maybe play a couple of checks, but look at this knight is coming into the game, and you see the knight is always blocking out the potential progress of white. Now for instance, bishop to d3. Now it's time to start to push the pawn. Now when the bishop comes again, we can now use the knight into the game, and now you have to play again with your king, but now with the move knight to g3, everything is glued together, everything is compact. And you see now, you can play maybe bishop to d3, we can promote now, you have to take, but now just right in time here, the knight can come into the game with the move knight to e4. We can of course create the fork, and this should be game over. So this was the only chance for Vincent Keimer to make something in this position. Of course, white doesn't have to play this game like this. After a move knight to f7, for instance, white can of course also go with bishop to c2, but it doesn't matter. Again, we'll play here from black's perspective knight to e5. After bishop to d3, you lose the bishop. If you are trying maybe to stay on this diagonal, then we'll simply again use this knight to c4 move. We can take out this pawn, and this pawn cannot move further. So again, it will be a completely winning game. So it's of course very hard to see this endgame tactics in the game. Here Vincent Keimer played this move f2, and now here with this maneuver bishop to f1, here Maxim Vachier-Lagrave grabbed the pawn, but now he's always waiting this pawn to come, and when this pawn comes to c4, here Maxim Vachier-Lagrave will sacrifice it with the bishop, and of course you cannot checkmate your opponent only with the knight. So bad endgame here by Vincent Keimer, but we have to say it, Vincent played an awesome tournament, and first of all I wanted to show you now the results and the standings of the FIDE World Rapid Chess Championship. So Magnus Carlsen, the winner, with 10 points out of the possible 13 points, and he only lost the game, as I said, against Vladislav Artemiev, and it's such a bad game that Magnus Carlsen lost because it was a huge blunder. It was, I think, not a spectacular game by Artemiev. It was more a bad mistake by Magnus Carlsen. Look at this, Vincent Keimer on the second place. Really wild stuff. A young player like this destroying the competition, only half of the point behind Magnus Carlsen. Fabiano Caruana, I'm also glad that Fabi played a good tournament, because Fabi is really sometimes underestimated in the chess community. Now he made also 9.5 points. Daniil Dubov, always a great attacker, always a great tactician. He's a great player in fast time formats, of course, also great success. Arjun Ergaisi, I think it's a huge success with 9 points, also a young player. We have here Vladimir Fedovsev, played also great tournament, but now in the third day, maybe not his best chess. Vladislav Artemiev, as we said, was in one particular moment also the leader of this event, but lost and also some games. So many great players, I think, surprised us, but it's of course beautiful for the chess community to see also newcomers, to see also new great players, and this was, I think, really beautiful dynamic tournament. So I think here Nodirbek Abdusattorov, for instance, who finished on the 10th place, it's in my opinion not something that should bother Nodirbek Abdusattorov. I think he made still a great success, because in one particular moment also he led in the tournament and then made a couple of inaccuracies, made a couple of blunders, lost some games. It doesn't matter, as I said, if the games would have been differently, then of course he could have also won the tournament, but on the 10th place still it's, I think, a great success. So in my opinion, a great performance. But let's see now, beautiful game here by Magnus Carlsen against Parham Maksudlu. Beautiful sharp attacking game it was. So here Magnus opened with the move e4. Maksudlu response was the move c5, the Sicilian knight to f3, d6, d4. After c takes d4, knight to d4, we have knight to f6 and knight to c3. And here after move knight to c6, we have now really this common setup, the 4 knights variation. And now we have this Richter-Rauser variation here by Magnus Carlsen, this idea bishop to g5, which of course creates already a positional threat. We're threatening the move bishop to f6, and here doubling up maybe the pawn structure here on the f file. So in the continuation here, Maksudlu plays this Scheveningen pawn structure e6 d6. In the continuation of the game, we can expect moves like d5. This flexible pawn structure allows you always to break and enter with the move d5. In the continuation, queen to d2. Magnus prepares now queenside castling, and here after move a6, which of course prevents the move knight to b5, Magnus simply secures the king by castling and has now a clear target, of course, the weak d6 pawn. So in the continuation, bishop to d7 was played by Maksudlu, f3, going into this common ideas, I think, of these types of structures. We're trying to get the move g4, h4, h5, h6. We're waiting also here, I think, black to castle on the king side and then destroy black after the king is secured. So in the continuation, we have now knight to d4. Maksudlu releases the pressure a little bit in the center. After queen to d4, bishop to e7 was played by black, and now king to b1. A common move in the Sicilian, securing the king further, because many times, of course, the c file gets open and then you could lose simply the tactical battle here on this file. So in the continuation, Maksudlu continues with the normal plan. b5, like you're supposed to do in the Sicilian, you should attack your opponent's king side. In this particular case, of course, it's the queen side, but now the king is here, and it becomes in many occasions this opposite side attack game, where white is attacking the king side here on this side of the board. Of course, black is continuing the pressure on the queen side, where of course black is slightly better. So we have now the move h4 by Magnus Carlsen. Maksudlu continues with the move rook to b8. He's preparing now ideas of a5, b4 and similar stuff. We have now g4 and now b4 immediately, kicking away the knight. So now Magnus goes knight to e2, and actually this move b4 it's not something that bothers, I think, white in the continuation of the game, because actually we wanted to maneuver the knight anyway on a better square. From the square g3, we can control further the h5 square. We can maybe push the pawn g5. Then, of course, when we play the move knight to g3, then, of course, the knight cannot jump here. So it's, I think, also so far a beautiful maneuver by Magnus Carlsen. So in the continuation, we have now a5. Maksudlu continues simply with the pressure. That's, I think, beautiful play here also by black. We have, So we have here, after move a5, knight to g3, rerouting the knight, liberating also the long diagonal for the light square bishop. So queen to c7, bishop to e3. Magnus liberates now here the square for the pawn. Is trying now to continue the pressure on the king side. And now comes maybe the first tiny little inaccuracy by Maksudlu. Maybe I would not call it even a huge mistake or something, but it's sort of a bad positional move by black. A better continuation is, I think, here immediately to break and enter with the move d5. d5 actually leads into several complications already for white. d5 is, I think, a liberating line, a liberating move that you have to play in this Scheveningen structures. Of course, white has some counter chances. Of course, white can continue maybe with some ideas of e5, but e5 can be met with knight to g8, and it seems strange that you're playing the knight on the starting square. But now after move f4, we can play bishop to f8 and now knight to e7, controlling further simply the position, and then reroute the knight maybe here to c6. Maybe a more aggressive method after move d5 could be maybe the move g5, but now here comes a really beautiful line. We have the immediate opportunity here to play the move b3. b3 threatens b takes c2. Now, for instance, after a takes b3, now we play queen takes g3, and here after move e5, which threatens here the move rook to h3, which actually traps the queen. Now we can play rook to b4, hitting the queen, and we can get out of this tactical mess. So this was this is just a stockfish line that I'm showing you here at home, but it was actually really time for black to play this aggressive method with the move d5. That was the only move that I think is helping out black in some occasions. At least you're simplifying the game somehow. But after move bishop to e3, here rook to c8 was played by Maksudlu. He's hitting the pawn on c2, but of course this can be protected with rook to h2 that Magnus Carlsen played, but it can be also here counter-attacked with the move bishop to a6. Bishop to a6 leads into further complications. You can maybe try here queen to c2, but it doesn't matter. We'll just step back, and the rook has to move. We'll play bishop to d3, and then we'll hit f4, f5, g5, and similar stuff. The pawns were rolled, the pawns were marched, and I think you're getting destroyed by this pawn storm here on the king side. So you don't have to even react here. So you can also play here after bishop to a6, rook to a8, of course, but it doesn't matter. Again, we'll retreat to d3, and you lost a very important tempo. The rook was already there where it's supposed to be. You played it on c8, now you played on a8. It's simply too much time that you lost in the opening stage. So Magnus played maybe a slightly more inaccurate move, but it doesn't matter. He's staying active here with the move rook to h2. We have now the move d5, which comes now a little bit too late, because here after move e5 that Magnus Carlsen played, we have now kingside castling. Okay, there is now a really wild line after e takes f6. Maybe you can take out the knight, but it leads again into complications after bishop to f6, bishop to f4, e5. We have here the fork against the bishop and the queen. You can maybe play knight to h5, but now we pick up the queen. Knight to f6 comes with check. G takes f6, and after bishop to c7, rook to c7. This should be a slightly better continuation, of course, for white because of the healthier pawn structure. But still, I think it's so hard to win this endgame, especially because of your many pawns on light squares. This bishop will maybe lock here even the e file with bishop to e6. Maybe we can double up here on the c file. Maybe we can continue with a4, b3, our pawn storm here on the queen side. So many opportunities here for black, but as I said, I think maybe white should be slightly better, but nothing spectacular also in the position. So after move kingside castling, Magnus didn't go for this line. He takes f6. He played now bishop to a6. Now he comes up with this idea. We have bishop to a8, rook to a8, pardon me, bishop to d3, rook to c8, and now queen to f4. This position gets worse and worse now for Maksudlu. The knight is hanging. We have now several tactical threats. The pieces, look at this, are targeting towards the king side, and from this point on, the game becomes a one-way ticket. Knight to e8, we have g5. Magnus continues the pressure. Bishop to c5. It doesn't matter. Bishop to c5, queen to c5. Magnus continues with his plan. Look at this. This bishop on d3 is holding the position, but also it's attacking the pawn on h7. After move bishop to b5, now comes a monster tactic here by Magnus Carlsen. Bishop to h7. King to h7, and now after move g6, basically the game is over. F takes g6 was played by Maksudlu, and now there are many choices. H takes g6 is probably the most accurate way, because after king to g6 you get this one. Knight to e4, hitting the queen here also. If you accept the challenge, of course, rook to g2 is going to happen. Then of course this other rook is coming into the game, so again the game is over. So but okay, after move f takes g6, here Magnus goes for queen to f7. We have now the move g5, and after move h6 in this position, Maksudlu resigns. There is simply no counterplay against h takes g7, and this liberates of course the h file, and the king gets attacked, so this should be game over. So incredible performance by Magnus Carlsen. Let's go back. As I said, we have here the current standings. Magnus is the winner with 10 points. Vincent Kemmer, great result with 9.5 points on the second place. Incredible performance by the young German top grandmaster. I think he's also the future of chess. Congratulations again for such a beautiful for such a beautiful result in this beautiful chess event. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game, and I hope that you enjoyed this tournament. I think also that the rapid chess is the future of chess. You see, Magnus Carlsen, I think, was very motivated to win this event, and the Magnus is, I think, telling the truth when he's saying that he needs motivation when he wants to play this event. That's why I think he also doesn't play this World Championship in 2023 in this classical time format chess, that he is not defending his title. Now we'll see England versus Jan Nepomniachtchi. In my opinion, as I said, it's always a part of motivation, and Magnus was very motivated for winning this event. And tomorrow, I think he also wants to win the World Blitz Chess Championship that he didn't win last year. So in my opinion, it's now really a part of his career, because if he wins now many of these beautiful chess events like the World Rapid Chess Championship and also the Blitz Chess Championship, he could be really called the greatest of all times when it comes to chess. So okay, see you soon with some more videos, and what to say, chess is the best, of course.